Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Good to see you all. Mr. Charlie's on the table with me today. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come here. Come here. Oh, goodness. He's on the floor just talking to me. Okay, there you go. Gracious. Oh, you're not going to stay? Okay. You're both going away? What is up with these cats today? There's no sunshine. That's what's up. There's no sunshine. Come here. You want to talk to everybody? Come here. He'd rather just, I'll show you what he's doing. He'd rather just rub his head on everything on my table, which means he's going to knock 3/4 of the stuff off or over. Are you coming back? He's being such a goofball. Anyway, so since he's just going to kind of do his own thing, we'll chat. He's going across the table. He's going on the other side. As the Marriottier would say, he's going over the cliff. So how's everybody? Hello, Cindy and Candy, Mina, Frederica, hello. Hi, Sherry. Mina, Gail, Joan, hello, hello. And Tink and Rhonda, hello. Good to see you. Hi, Annette. It's very nice to see each and every one of you today. Hi, Noit. Oh, you're very welcome. Honestly, Noit, I don't remember what I sent you. I hope it was... I've slept since then, you know what I mean? Hi, Chris. Moving is exhausting. Yes, it is. Hi, Tori. Hi, Katie. Hey, haven't seen you in forever. Nice to see you. Hi, Carla. And Linda. And I don't know who else I missed. But anyway, hello, hello. It's great to see everybody. Somebody told me last week that I looked really tired. You know what? That's because I am. Not getting a super large, lengthy amount of sleep right now. You know, things ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. Uh-oh, Race is here. Race is in the house. I'll tell you what. That Race, he is something else. And he still looks good with his brand new teeth. Front teeth. Got him fixed. He waited a long time to get those fixed. And they did a fantastic job. And he is looking handsome. So be sure you tell him how handsome he looks. So anyway. Brace, you missed it all. You missed it all. So far, you've just missed it all. Cats are being obnoxious today. That is a shock. I know, Race. I know that's a shock that the cats are being obnoxious. We have no sunshine, and it's cold out compared to what it has been. And those are stressful days for the cats. I don't know why, but no sunshine is very problematic for them. Very problematic. Hello, Ruth. Chris says everyone kept asking her if she was sick, so now she's using self-tanner. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. That is pretty funny. Yeah. When I was in college, I was a freshman in college, and I wasn't a very, I'm still not a super outgoing person, I guess you would say. I tend to be, I'm not super extroverted, I'm more introverted. And so I was just kind of watching, we had to line up at the dining hall, and you had to eat at the dining hall or else you had to go pay for it off campus someplace. So everybody pretty much ate in the dining hall. And Chris is translucent. There you go. Hi, Linda. So anyway, you had to go to the dining hall, and they had a fairly good sized foyer area. And so we would all stand there and wait because, of course, there wasn't a lot to eat in between meals there. We didn't have our own, at that point in time, it was back in the dark ages, you couldn't have your own refrigerator. You couldn't have a TV in your room. They had, in the parlor, that's what it was called, the parlor, they had one TV that I think had 3 stations because they wouldn't spring for cable there. As much as we paid in tuition, they wouldn't spring for cable. Anyway, but that's where you went to watch TV. It was in the parlor. You did not, and it was a small room, so pretty much nobody watched TV because nobody wanted to be crammed into this little space. Anyway, so between meals, you could have, there was some pitiful vending machines, which usually were sold out because everybody would get all the stuff out of them because everybody was college students. They were hungry, So the only food you could have in your room was stuff like, boxes of crackers or bags of chips. Stuff's really good for your brain when you're in school. And you could have a hot pot that would heat up water for tea, or back at the, we used to make even instant Lipton soup. That's a treat for you. Yeah. Tasted like the cardboard it was stored in. And coffee. And the kind of coffee that we did was, let's see, I think I had a coffee percolator, I think. I'm pretty sure I did. And the kind of coffee that I had, it was pre-ground, and it was packaged in these filters. It was like pressed or something. And so you just took one out and popped it in the basket of the percolator, put the water in it, and then plugged it in. So you could have those things, but you couldn't have a microwave. You couldn't have, hot plate. You couldn't have any of that stuff. So anyway, I digress. So anyway, I'm in the dining hall, and this is one of the first days I was there, and I was trying to get used to my roommate, who was a real space cadet. You didn't get to choose your roommate as a freshman. And she was a druggie. And I mean, she was lit more of the time than she wasn't. And I don't know that she ever went to class. She would be out as long as she could be out before they'd lock her out of the dorm. Sometimes she'd be out of the dorm all night, and then she'd get in trouble. And then when she did come in, she would, stay up in somebody else's room, and then she'd be sleeping all day long. So I was trying to adjust to the screwball roommate. And so anyway, I'm in the dining hall, and I'm by myself because I don't know anybody. I know no one in school. And so I'm just kind of watching people, and I didn't have on any makeup. This was in the days where not a lot of people wore makeup. I had long hair, parted in the middle, and it was way down my back. So, that gives you the visual. And not very many people wore a lot of makeup. Either you wore no makeup or you wore a ton of makeup, and I didn't. Anyway, so somebody in the line at the dining hall said to me, it was a guy, made it even better. And he says, what is wrong with you? Are you sick? So there you go. There you go. Yeah. Well, I think cable was just coming into being there, but it was a real luxury, real luxury. It was brand new. Hi, Carolyn. Hey, Laura. Show you some pictures someday. I'll have to see if I can dig some up. Yeah. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Sheila. Um, yeah, when we got married, I made my wedding dress and I combined, I don't know how many patterns, like 3 different patterns, because I wanted a certain kind of sleeve. And it was the homespun kind of wedding dress was what was popular. And so I made my dress out of a lino weave muslin. I still have the dress and I still have the fabric. It had cuffs that went almost to my elbow, and then like a leg of mutton sleeve. I think that's what they call it, mutton sleeve. I don't know. Anyway, it was a big gathered sleeve that gathered into this big wide cuff. I had buttons all the way down. I had a yoke with cotton lace. It had lace, cotton lace all over it. It was long to the floor. Of course, the long dress, the long hair, no makeup. It's a pretty wedding picture. Exactly, Laura, right? Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Jan. Nancy. Hello, Mary. Yeah, I made my wedding dress and I made my stepdaughter's wedding dress. Hers was much fancier than mine. But I was lucky. I was lucky to get married. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Robin. I was lucky to get married because my parents did not want me to marry Clausman at all. I was. Ray said I was very fresh-faced at the wedding. Indeed, I was. Indeed, I was. Hi, Shu. But you know what? I got the wedding dress I wanted. And all of my bridesmaids were in, this will tell you something. Some of you won't even know what this is. All of my bridesmaids were in gingham that had little flocked flowers. Many of you will know what flocked scrapbook paper is. Well, they had flocked fabric. You have to be very careful how you say that. And so they had, that's what their dresses were made out of. And either they made them or I made them. You know, if they felt skilled enough to do it, they made them. And if they didn't, I made them. So, yeah, but that way I got the dress I wanted. And I bet my wedding dress cost me, I bet it cost $30 for the fabric. And that was a lot. You know, that was a lot. My parents did get over it, and they were really glad they did. They were really glad they got over it. Super glad they got over it. Because we ended up taking care of them. My husband ended up building a house for them, and, you know, and so forth and so on. So, yeah, they were real glad they got over it. So, it was lavender. Yeah, lavender gingham. Yeah, well, you know, I'm a lot more empathetic for my parents now than I was at the time, of course, because I was 19, and that was part of the problem. You know, you weren't supposed to, they didn't want me getting married that young. I don't even know how I got off on this. Anyway, college and things people say, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I was 19 and they wanted me to go on to school. They wanted me to become a concert pianist. and I didn't want to, but that's what they wanted me to do. And my husband, Clausman, had been married to one of my sisters, so that was the real sticking point. He was married to my sister. I'm from a family of 5 girls, and he was married to the next to the oldest, and I'm the youngest. And she'd been killed in a car accident along with his youngest child in the same accident. And, so she was not in the picture, but they certainly did not. I guess they were afraid of the track record. I don't know. Anyway, they didn't want me marrying him. Not even a little bit. They did come to our wedding, but they sat in the back row, and my dad wouldn't give me away. All those kinds of. There was a ton of things, a ton of I would say Grand Canyon size wounds that had to heal, and it took a long time. In fact, the last part of those wounds didn't heal until I wrote the book, Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore. That's when the last of the wounds finally healed. So, yep. It's, life is just strange, and people have all kinds of opinions, and you have to cut them some slack because they are dealing with their own perspective, their own set of standards and morals and whatever that they grew up with. And it didn't help anything that I was born to my parents when they were in their 40s, and at that point in time, that just didn't happen, or rarely happened. And so they were very, very, especially my dad was very straight-laced, and it was his way, it was his way or the highway. So yeah, it was crazy. So anyway, enough of that. So Charlie's down here on the floor. I don't know if you can see him. He's kind of sneaking over. There comes Chance. If they behave, I'll let him walk around. Yeah. This is the problem. He won't shut up. I'm going to give him a little bit of food, a little snack, and shut him in the room. Yep, Sherry, I hear you. Yeah, we've been married, not quite, but getting close to 50 years. So, yep. All right, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Enjoy. Enjoy. Charlie has turned into a bottomless pit. And I do mean bottomless. So, or you mean you can probably relate, can't you? It was a long time ago, Chris. Long, 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 long time ago. But when it's new information, I mean, once in a while, somebody doesn't know our story, and so I will talk about it. And if you've never heard it before, it can be very triggering to people. It can be very upsetting to grasp that, amount of those events, And then and it didn't help anything that he'd lost a wife 5 years before he married my sister in a car accident. So she was killed in a car accident. my sister was killed in a car accident along with his little girl who was in kindergarten. And so then when I was gonna, and each one of them lasted about 5 years. So when I have to say, when I got past the 5th anniversary and I was still around, I breathed a little sigh of relief. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So anyway, yep. Hi, Joey. Oh, good for you, Marion. Happy anniversary. That's wonderful. All right, so enough yammering on. Anyway, if you think I look tired, it's because I am. So there you go. But I'm not as tired as I was a couple weeks ago. Lots of things to do here. Okay, so last week, and to anybody who thinks that I should do anything a lot more elaborate than what I'm doing on this show, sorry, it's not happening. I'm just trying to get my routine going and get my sea legs back under me. So if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, please be sure that you put it in all caps, because that is my best shot at seeing your communication with me. Doesn't guarantee I will, but it might. So anyway, last week we were talking about this book by Carla Sonheim, and it's called 52 Creative Exercises to Make Drawing Fun, and it's drawing lab, okay, drawing lab for mixed media artists, and it has a variety of exercises in it. And the one that we did last week was playing around with the way she does her Picasso dogs. So somebody left a comment and said this looked like an anteater. I have to agree with that. It's kind of an anteater-ish kind of creature. And this one, who knows what this is. Anyway, so that was and I was going to play with them a little bit more and put a little more stuff on them. And it just wasn't happening this week. Anyway, I thought what we would do, Carla has another book out. She probably has at least 2 additional books out. But the next one that I bought after that one was this one. And I do have a link to this in the description box below the video. If you're looking for it, you can click the link. And if you don't want to click the link and you still want to it's up to you. Anyway, drawing and painting imaginary animals. And so this is a really fun, especially her introduction is very enlightening, gives you some real insight into Carla. And she has some really wonderful illustrations. I love her whimsical, out there kind of style. And so that's lots of ways to draw cats. Here's another one, because she has a cat, or had a cat at the time she wrote this. And so her cat had cost her a lot of money the day that she was going to start writing her book. Hey, Becky. Hi, Anne. So anyway, I just thought we would play with an idea from that book. One of the things that she has on her website are, at Carla's website, is she has a crack of the month. And so we're going to play with some of these. And so these are all different sidewalk cracks. And I don't know where she got them, probably all over the place. Maybe it's one cracked up sidewalk that she just, separated into smaller pieces. I don't know. Hey, Dorothy. So anyway, we're going to play with these a little bit. Something low-key. Really super low-key and just fun. I tell you what. I come in here and pretty much every day my glasses have all these spots on them. And I have decided, I haven't caught him doing it, but I think it's Charlie. Because he has the sneezes so many times. I think he gets on my desk, and I think when he's rubbing his face all over everything to mark it, he gets a big sneeze. Because 9 times out of 10, there's some big, herky, yeah, for lack of a better word, I think it's probably cat snot. Better than some other things I could think of, though. TMI, Barb, for goodness sakes. TMI. Ann Lar says that Carla also has some fun free classes. She does. So check her out on her website. And before I put the camera down on my hands, I'm going to apologize for them right up front because they are full of cracks and peeling, and they are a mess. And I even lathered them up with hand lotion before I came on. It really isn't helping. Between the hot weather, I wish. Between the cold weather and all of the hand washing, it's taken its toll. Anywho, let us move forward. So, also I wanted to show you this book. The link to this one is not in the description because I forgot. I would have looked it up, but I forgot to do it. I've had this book for quite a while. It's The Art of Zentangle, 50 Inspiring Drawings, Designs, and Ideas for the Meditative Artist. Hello, Teresa. Oh, Dorothy, I'm so sorry about that. Ugh. There's a lot of creeps out there, you know? Anywho, let's do something fun. So this is a Walter Foster book. I picked it up at the bookstore, and I've had it for quite some time. And it was published in 2013. And if you like Zentangle and you like, if you like Zentangle, you can't get enough of it. And so there's all different things about different patterns and materials, and it gives you, like, they'll give you, I think the way this was, this was the one that, the pattern, I'll get it in a minute, the way the pattern was drawn, and then this was a blank square. And so then you were given the opportunity to draw your own either rendition of this or one that you liked. This was one I liked. Didn't have anything to do with that. This one was kind of a version of that. This was sort of a version of that. Same thing here. And so it's a good way to learn the different patterns because you have the example on the left, and then you can practice on the right or make your own idea. Same thing on these. They gave you the sample like this, and then space to draw your own. So I did. These two are mine. This was the sample. This one was mine. This one's mine. Yeah, so this was the sample, and these three are mine. And this was an example, and this I drew, and this was all mine. So I did a sample, and then I embellished it, is what I did on that. Same kind of thing over here. This is the one from the book. That's the one I did. These are in the book, and these were my renditions of that. So you can really teach yourself a lot about patterning and Zentangle or Zentangle inspired art by doing this, where you have a design and then you draw it very close to it. Okay, and so the same kind of, so here you get the idea. So here's what they drew, and then there's plenty of space for you to draw several additional samples. And then she got into, this author is, I know it's a Walter Foster book, but I don't know if they actually attribute it to an author. Doesn't look like it. Penny Rail, I guess. I guess this is from Penny Rail. Raile is her name. Anyway, it's irrelevant. There it is right there. So this was using the concept that we're going to play around with, and that is taking a sidewalk crack, like this, for example, and then just seeing what you see. So here's the example, and then this was what she saw, not what I saw. This was what the author of the book saw. And then from there, she developed it into this creature and then added some patterning to it. So that's a little bit the idea of what we're going to do. So this one was, on this page, you were supposed to find your own cracks. And so these were, I don't know if these came from Carla's website or if I just Googled sidewalk cracks and came up with these. But anyway, these are 2 images that I then taped into my book. Hello, Mary. And so from this and this is my drawing. So this is my creature, and this looked like a person, and so that's what I drew in this space here. And then embellished it. I gave him a balloon with some patterning in it. I did some patterns all over his funny body. And same thing over here, you know. So this was, I think, just a blank square, as I recall, or rectangle. And then I just played around with it. So this is kind of the concept that we're going to play with a little bit today. But there's a lot of space like this where, like this was like this. And so I filled in the squares and then played around with the patterning and so forth. $5.99. Wow. Barbara Clark found it for $5.99. Good for you. That's a great price, because I know I paid retail for it. This was $19.95 when I bought it. So $5.99 is definitely a good price. So anyway, there is that. So I just wanted to show you kind of the idea behind what we're going to play around with. But hopefully you can see there are my images to work with. And that's just the way they were. And then that's what I did with them. Okay, so let us do that. And this is, the concept of this does come from the original concept of the sidewalk cracks, or the first place, I should say, the first place I ever saw them was in this book, Drawing and Painting Imaginary Animals. Katie Fowler just found it on Thrift Books for under $5, so she wins so far. Yes, Marion says don't be afraid to buy the used books on Amazon. They're usually like new. I agree. I found that same thing to be true. I have bought many used books on Amazon. So this is the concept here in Carla's book, Imaginary Animals, where she starts with a crack in the sidewalk. She also does a lot of things where she walks around and with a camera or her phone. There's a picture of her in here somewhere. And she takes lots of pictures of just random things. I love this cow. She takes lots of pictures of random things and then looks at them to see what she can see. Here. So here she is walking around and just looking at things and then either taking pictures of them or sketching them. Sketching what she sees. And she's been all over the world and has done, you know, has taken pictures all over the world for that. Those kinds of things. Really, there goes Race, throwing around his big words again. Pareidolia. Seeing defined images and abstract patterns like Mother Mary in a grilled cheese sandwich. There you go. Or images in the clouds. You know, that kind of stuff. So anyway, here's the sidewalk crack. And from this came this creature here. And then she found other creatures in the same crack of the sidewalk and this one as well. So what she's showing you here is to take that image, like this one, for example, and using gesso to gesso out everything except the image that you see. So that's what she's done here, and then embellishing from there. So you can do that, right? I am more apt to use a pencil first and kind of find the thing, whatever the thing is, and then go back over it with a black marker. And once I've got it defined, then use a piece of tracing paper like so and trace the thing that I find and, you know, transfer it into my journal or something. I'm much more apt to do that. Well, Dorothy, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. So we can look, we'll just play with some of these, okay? And I have not looked at these prior to this, so I'm sure you will see many other things than what I see. I have not looked at these. I just printed them off and thought, well, we'll just play with it and see what happens. Okay, so what I see here, first of all, is I see an eye. I see an ear or a horn or the top of the head or something. So I'm just going to kind of get a grasp of what I'm seeing here. And that looks like a nose. And this looks like the body here to me. And then maybe a really, I mean, we can add what we want, but kind of like a leg here of some kind. Probably would not have that kind of foot, would it? No, not really. No, not even kind of. So we'll just put like a foot here, just to give us a place to start. And okay, so let's take a these Sharpies are apparently new. And let's come in here and define this creature with a black marker. And of course, I can't help but embellish as I go along. So this might be his head here and his jowl. And then maybe he's just got a crazy imaginary tail over here, right? Or maybe he just farted. That could be, he could have, this could be the fart coming out too, right? So do you kind of get the concept? Hi, Margaret. And so then you take that and then you decide what you want to do with it. So, and he's got a big hump here. And if you want to further, take something like this and divide it up, well, you can divide it, follow the cracks in the sidewalk and divide it into sections, especially if you're doing things like the patterning or Zentangle. You can do that and then give yourself places to do your patterning. Okay? Yeah, they're always going to be crazy. Always. So there's one that we could play around with. All right. And it looks like this might be another leg here. Like there might be a leg there and there might be another leg. They don't have to have 4 legs, but that's just kind of what I saw, So there's that. So we have one. All right, let's look at this one. Okay, so what, let's see, what do I see here? I don't know why they kind of are heading this direction, but they are, so. Must be a fancy fish of some kind, huh? But it's good to use your imagination. So when you're out taking a walk and you have a real cracked up street, which most of them are right now because of at least if you're in an area where you have freezing and thawing, you're going to have cracked up streets right now. So you might find lots of images to play around with. So you just can play and see what you can come up with. It doesn't have to be this thing. It could be a bird. It could be a fish bird. It could be all kinds of things, right? Yep. Okay, so there's that one. So let's go to another one. This one should have all kinds of things. All kinds of things. Okay, first of all, we'll just go straight in with the marker because I think it might be easier to see. There's an eye, and there's an eye. And let's see. And then, you know, you can add things. Right? So we got one thing here. One thing that we found in there. And then when you take it off with the tracing paper, you know, you can refine it and change. If you don't like a hump or you want to change this line to a different, you know, let's say you wanted to bring this line in here and move this foot up here, you know, and leave this out, well, then that's when you start taking artist license, of course, and doing what you do. But it's just fun to see what you see to begin with, right? Just see what you see. What do you see? What do you see? And then I find, too, that once I see one shape or one creature like this one, for example, then I will, for whatever reason, then my brain locks in on that and I start looking and I see another one here that looks like it's the parent of that. Okay, here's another one. Let's see. There's a nose and maybe an eye. And it's also fun when you're doing stuff like this to just work with what the crack gives you and maybe not embellish it any further. Maybe just go, okay, well, that's what that is. And this is a foot. And maybe it has a wing back here. And then maybe at that point, then maybe you put another wing, right? So what kind of creature is it? No clue. No clue. Okay. And here's another one. And then you can come in and add, you know, finish out whatever you want it to look like from there. And then if you get stuck and you can't see anything else for sure, then turn it and see if you can see something in a different direction. And then just make some, make something up as you go. You go, oh, okay. What is it? We don't know, and we don't care. Mm-hmm. And if you get to a point where you're just not seeing anything else, then stop and go on to the next one. All right, I'm done looking at that one. Let's go to this one. Hello, Starla. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Sometimes when they're really light, like this one is so light, you don't have a lot of contrast in this one, it makes it a little harder, for me anyway, to be able to see, to pick out the images and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to let this one sit for a second. Have a little drink of tea. All right, so but if you have these downloaded in your computer, then you can just look at them as many times as you want to look at them and print them off and just see how many different things you can see in one. Okay, so I started out thinking that was a head, and then this is what I see now. So I'm going to go with what I see now. And I'm going to turn this into a party hat. Okay? I'm going to turn it into a party hat. So just because I saw something one way doesn't mean that that's what it has to be. So I don't know where he's going, this creature, but he's getting ready to go to a party. Do you see that? Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's that one. So I started out one way and then quickly morphed into something else. All right, let's turn it and see. Got to turn back. Okay. For me, I guess what informs a lot of what's going to go on is I see an eye. And then from there it just starts becoming something. Don't know what it is, but it's a critter of some kind. Just gives you some place to jump off from and to start something. And see here, this one is smelling something, so must be tracking an apple pie on the windowsill or something, because it's like, I'm gonna go get that because it just makes me smile, right? Makes them smile. Okay, so let's turn again and see if we see anything. And I'm not really seeing anything else. I'm sure there's a ton of other things that you guys have seen, but I'm not seeing anything else at the moment. Well, this could be something right here. This reminds me of a cartoon bird. Or something. Okay, enough of that one. Let's see if we can see something in here. In this hot mess, which is so light in color that it's really hard for me to... The contrast is better. If you can get something with higher contrast, it's definitely better. All right. Sometimes you have to really look at them to say, okay, so what happens now? What happens next here? I think it might be a Yoda kind of creature, a wise old soul, you know, wearing a robe or something. So maybe a Yoda-ish kind of creature, huh? Okay, let's see. Because we see something else. Now this bird could not possibly fly with that little tiny wing right there, but that's what we saw. And then there's a great big wing back here, so it might be okay. He might be able to take flight. I never know. Maybe he's a dodo bird and he's just trying to fly and has to throw himself off a tall ledge in order to do that. Let's see. All right. I'm going to stop with that. That's good enough. But you get the idea. Hi, Amanda. Good to see you. If you guys don't know Amanda Trout, she is a fabulous artist. You should check her out. You should check her out. So now what you can do is you can take a piece of tracing paper, for example, or we could use, I'm going to use tracing paper because I don't have my light box in here. And then you can just put your tracing paper on here and trace off your creatures so you isolate all the rest of that background stuff. Or you could do what Carla did in her book, which was to paint out all the background with gesso and get rid of all the stuff that's distracting you. Or you can just come in here. Let's see, where did I go with that? Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see, even through tracing paper that's really thin. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see it, you know. Amanda, I forgot where you're located. Are you in Africa? I want to say Africa or the UK. I cannot remember. Amanda and I were, we taught classes. On one class, we taught different things. It was a class that Kyla Givehand was doing. Boy, that's been a while ago, hasn't it? It has been a while ago. Amanda has a YouTube channel too. Originally UK and now in Barbados. Gotcha. Uh-oh. Amanda, I didn't see what you wrote before it got deleted there. Sometimes, if something looks suspicious, the mods will delete it even if you don't mean it to be suspicious. Because they have been told to err on the side of whatever. You know. So anyway, there is that guy that we pulled out of that sidewalk crack. Okay. We try to make sure that the space here is really safe for people, and so sometimes we get a little overzealous, you know, and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. No worries. Maybe this is a swordfish. Probably not. Probably not. Must have gotten a fishing lure. Must have gotten caught Must have got caught. But this could be a really pretty, colorful fish, don't you think? Or if you wanted to, you could turn it into a mermaid. Mm-hmm. Okay, no worries. No worries. Okay. I still think this is, he's farting. Does kind of look like a barracuda, doesn't it? But anyway, do you get the idea? You just play. You just play. It's good for you to do stuff like this. First of all, it takes you away from quote unquote real life. And secondly, it exercises a different part of your brain. It exercises a different part. All right, so let's do this little guy. So this one, when I trace it off, I'm going to ignore what the original crack was there and just kind of make it the way that I wanted to make it. And then you can always come back, of course, and refine your drawing, but it gives you a place to begin. And it's fun if you leave some of the little humps and bumps in from the sidewalk cracks and so forth. Sometimes it's fun to just leave those in. All right, so we'll give this one a little more space because we need to probably give him a little more of a body, so. But anytime I watch Carla Sonheim do this, I'm always fascinated because she always sees things so differently from the way that I see it, you know? But I think we're all like that. We all see things through different eyes, right? Oh, good, Carolyn. That's good. Okay, so let's get this little guy. We're going to put him, he's taken off, so we're going to let him be up here in the, he's got on one of those little beanie hats that has those, I don't know how to draw them without looking up a reference. Propellers, you know. And he's got wings just for extra power in case he needs wind power, you know. Well, I'll work on him a little bit more later. But we kind of got the idea where he might be going. Okay, let's look at this one. This funny looking creature. Now these petal shapes up here, I didn't see those in the rock. They just seem like they belonged up there. I don't know why. I never know why. It's just like sometimes it just feels like, oh, that needs to have that thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? But all I'm after is just kind of isolating the bits and pieces so that I kind of have something to figure out. Okay, yeah, I want to do this. Yeah, I want to do that. Yes, that has possibilities. No, that's crap, you know. Okay, so we've got those. All right, how about this party goer here? The party goer. The party animal. Ah, yep, the party animal, huh? Sometimes they're just too funny. Too funny. Okay, so we got that one. Oh, and then we had this bird thing. Maybe we'll put this bird thing up here, hanging out. I think it's the biggest challenge for something like this is to get past, oh, it has to look like this, and it has to have 2 feet or, you know, 4 legs or whatever, to just get past those preconceived notions of, oh yeah, this is how it has to be, you know? Okay, so there we go with, here, let me do it. Let me get a piece of white paper here. Hey, Judy. Well, I think everybody's busy looking, and so Nightbot is taking up the space, or everybody's worried or working on things. So Nightbot's the chatter today. So then you can just, you know, take a pencil, for example, just to kind of give yourself something to visualize with, and give them some ground. And a shadow, so it grounds them. And this one might be sitting at a table, you know. So that might be what this one is doing. You know, it just kind of looks like he's seated in a chair and is waiting for somebody to bring him something and put on his table, or he's peeking up over the edge of something, you know. So we can just make this a distinct surface of some kind. And you know, and then it's fun to come in here and add some patterning or some spots, because you know what? Everything's better with spots, don't you think? Everything's better with spots. And then this one, you know, is we'll say that this one's in the water, so we'll just put some suggestion of waves. Terrible suggestion. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay, then let's come to this one. And let's give the guys something to ground them a little bit. If you decide you want to play around with this idea, you can always tag me on Instagram, and you'll find my Instagram information below the video here. Tag me, and then that way I can be sure and see what you do. That'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun. And I don't know what he's doing, so we'll do like we did with this one over here. We'll put him behind a surface or something. Let's see if I can do this. I don't have a ruler right handy, so I'm using the edge of a piece of paper. Yep, like that. And then this guy is flying up here in the stratosphere somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, but that way it gives your characters, kind of gives you more of a story. And like this looks really dumb to me. I put that tail on there, and I thought, oh yeah, he's gonna have to have a tail, but no, he doesn't have to have a tail because he looked really stupid. So you take it off. Take it off. You know? As long as it's in pencil, you can do that. And then just start playing. See what you see. Then transfer it onto something else. And the way that I transfer it is to use a piece of graphite paper like this. This is how I transfer. There's a million different ways to transfer. Either that, or I use a light box, and I'll tape this piece onto my light box, and then put the paper I'm going to transfer to, like watercolor paper, or whatever I'm going to do, or it could be fabric. Tape that down on top of it, turn the light on, and then you can trace through, or tape it to a window if you have that. And then you can just start playing with it and see what you come up with. What is the story for this creature? What is the story? Either he's going to get something, or he's running away from the person who, or the thing that's after it. It's hard to say. Hard to say. All right. So what do you think? Was that fun? Was that fun? If you don't have if you don't have Carla's books, I do recommend them. That along with this one, if you like Zentangle type stuff, since you can find it with some good prices, why not? And then just play. I think none of us play enough, honestly. I know I don't. Using your imagination is a really good thing. That's right. Judy says that one guy is an armadillo, rodent, foxwolf. Yeah, it says it's an armadillo, rodent, foxwolf. This guy down here. 1 year for this was years ago. I made for Christmas. I made for my son stuffed animals out of interesting different kinds of fake fur type stuff. I don't know how many of those I made for him. I don't know, 2 or 3. And those are fun too. If you like to do stuffed animals or plush animals and that kind of stuff, to make them out of something that doesn't go with them. That's fun to do too. Or to combine pieces and parts of different patterns, so that you're doing essentially the same thing. You're just doing it in a 3-dimensional form. So anyway, okay. So I know I'm not going to be on very long today, but better some than not at all, right? So I'm going to take off for today, but that'll give you some things to play with or some things to think about, or maybe get you outside looking at the sidewalk or the street, or the sides of buildings, or, old ruins. If you have a place where a building is coming apart, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can see some really interesting cracks in things like that. So it might give you some ideas for just to get your mind going a little bit, right? So anyway, that is that. And I will see you guys. Hopefully, I'll be here next week. So be sure and check out HowToGetCreative.com. If you don't have the Mandala Madness cards, remember we do have the cards. And we have merch with our goofy relatives on them. Stickers and mugs and what have you. Anyway, we have things. If you want a piece of my original stuff, you're welcome to explore that. And I will be here next week, next Friday. Our time changes this weekend, so we go forward an hour. We lose an hour. So be sure, if you're in a different country or in a different time zone than the Eastern time zone, you might want to check it out just to make sure, in case your time doesn't change, because I know there are some places that don't. You might show up here and either I'm too early or too late, or you're too early or too late. Anyway, our time changes this weekend. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, that is it. So remember to get creative today, everybody, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. It's really good to be with you. And it's been a lot of fun for me too. So I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.